name is Royletta Romaine. I'm the owner of Healing by the Forkful. I'm a registered dietitian, licensed dietitian, and a new certified LEAP therapist in Boston, Mass. LEAP stands for Lifestyle, Eating, and Performance. I help my clients reduce or stop symptoms of inflammation, fibromyalgia, irritable bowel syndrome, and migraines with food, not medication. You can find me on Instagram at healingbytheforkful, or you can reach me by email at healingbytheforkfulrd@gmail.com. My mini podcast is short and to the point. A few times a month, I will bring you a new person who has been helped by what I call a personalized anti-inflammation blueprint. Please send me an email if you have questions or would like to be on the podcast. My hope is to reach and help as many people as I can. So welcome, and let's get Healing by the Forkful started. So today we're actually speaking with Sara Morrison. She is a fellow LEAP therapist, and she has helped her son tremendously. So I'm going to throw it over to Sara. And Sara, if you could just introduce yourself.
Yes, thank you. Yep, Sara Morrison. I'm also a dietitian and certified LEAP therapist. I've been practicing as a dietitian for over 10 years and I brought LEAP and MRT into my practice about 2 years ago. And now help people of all ages heal their gut. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your son. What were his symptoms, and tell us how old he is and how he was expressing these symptoms to you.
Lincoln, my son, he is 9 years old now, but he has actually struggled from the beginning. Typical labor and delivery, typical birth, healthy child overall, and not terribly too refluxy as an infant. When we started solid foods, we found some foods that would lead to like more excessive emesis, a little bit more throwing up and such, but it didn't really dawn on me, or I didn't think about it until he was about 2 years old. Mm-hmm. When he was 2, he started getting some pretty significant eczema. Mm-hmm. I live in a very high dry desert, northern Nevada, so pediatrician and myself kind of even chalked it up to weather. We were like, that's fine. So that was about 2 years old. Fast forward a couple of years, he started around 3-4 years old, still had some eczema, but also started complaining about tummy troubles. Now, he always talked about how he was my puppy, like how puppies just throw up, right? Like you're just like, I don't know why he puked. He just threw up all the time. And he would just throw up and then be fine. So he would be like, he would throw up. I could not, I was a dietitian then, I still am. Like I was like trying to find different
what's going
reasons.
on.
Yeah, why is he throwing up all the time? And it would just be, sometimes it would be once a month, sometimes it would be 5 times a month. No rhyme or reason in my mind, I couldn't tell. And then he'd also really started, at 4, 5, 6 years old, complain about GERD, about like heartburn. He'd call it tummy troubles. And like, I don't know. It was so weird how it happened. And I'm like, it's got to be something he's eating. So I started, kind of doing my own elimination diet and just trying to figure it out. So he ended up being fine. And then we just kind of thought, oh, well, maybe. Also, we did all the allergy testing, like all the food allergy testing. The doctor did the IgG, like food sensitivity test. Like we did all of that, and nothing. He didn't come back for nothing. So I'm like, okay, well, it's just him. He just throws up. And so so
you're like, this is my son. He throws up.
He throws up. He's my puppy. And he also, not necessarily LEAP related, but somewhat actually. He copes with food. Like he always has. When he was 1, my oldest daughter was diagnosed with leukemia. So that was a 3.5 or 3 year journey where there was a lot of attention on her. We spent a ton of time in the hospitals. Right, and by the time Lincoln was 1, he was in and out of different like grandparents' cares. It was a lot of trauma, a lot of stress. And we just fed, like whether it was me nursing him or let's go get a snack. Like, so anytime he felt ill or felt unwell, he would turn to food. And so I also thought some of the throwing up was like maybe overeating.
Overeating, stress, and then just dealing with a sibling having so much attention, for sure.
Right. So there was kind of a culmination of everything. Excuse me. When I started doing LEAP, I found LEAP and the MRT test because I initially thought I was only going to work with children. And we have a colleague, Lily Nichols, who does, no, not Lily Nichols, excuse me. I'm not going to remember her name. There's another dietitian who does the MRT test for people with autism. And I was working with several neurodivergent clients, and I thought, well, maybe I'll bring this into my practice. It ended up that I don't work with neurodivergent children now, but it's totally fine. But it just kind of introduced it into my practice.
Every day is a learning experience. Forever evolving, pivoting, as they say, right?
Yeah. But pretty soon I was like helping all these people of all ages fix their tummies, no longer pain, like not throwing up, their GERD was going away, blah, blah, blah. So last year, so end of 2023, Lincoln was 8, and I had just kind of had it. We'd come home from like a camping trip where poor kid, and like it would be, it was like, I thought maybe it'd be anxious because he'd have like testing at school, or we'd get, a few years ago, we were getting ready to go to Hawaii and he threw up that morning. I'm like, oh my God, he's sick. No, he had his thing, whatever. So I was just kind of like, something's wrong with him. I have this test, babe. I told my husband and I, we talked about it. I'm like, let's take him through my protocol. Let's do it. Why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we?
Yeah.
And so we tested him back in November. And his highest reactivity or highest reaction food is ginger, which, as a dietitian, I don't think without this tool would I ever get to the point, like, let's eliminate ginger. But I cook a lot with, I cooked a lot with ginger. I have a lot of Asian
ginger, garlic. Yeah.
Ginger, garlic. And it's not just ginger. I mean, some of his other reactive foods. I remember a camping trip where he drank like 1 to 2 a day of these hop waters. There's no alcohol. It's just like a hop water, and he's high reactive for hops. And lime, he's high reactive for lime. And then of course there's soy and wheat. Corn is also high. Wheat's pretty low, but it's like low yellow. So I'm like, well, it's all this stuff. So we had a big conversation. I told him, we are a family where we make decisions together. It's not like I'm mom and I know everything 100%. We are a family. We make decisions together, and he knew that we were going to do this. He knew he wanted to. I mean, his eczema and his tummy trouble.
He wanted to feel better.
He wanted to, yeah. So he was ready for it, and he was very sad because he loves the ginger candies, the ginger snaps around Christmas time. I'm like, oh man. But we removed ginger right away. It took me as a mother and as a pediatric dietitian, I can understand, you can't just be like, okay, here's the test results. And then, tomorrow we're starting this brand new way of living. So we eliminated ginger right away, and didn't really do a full protocol until, probably about 4 weeks later. But eliminating ginger right away, within 2 weeks, his eczema, which was severe in his groin area and behind his legs, was flat. So anyone who has eczema probably knows it can get really inflamed, cracky, painful. And then before it heals, it gets flat. And so it was completely flat. And now now it's just a minimal scar. So it's been about 6-7 months now. And now it's just a minimal scar, and not even that's going away. And that was just with removing immediately. Also, he hasn't puked. Yeah, he stopped throwing up. And so we did take him through, with kids, it's a slightly different protocol. And I don't know about your approach, but my full LEAP protocol is a little intense for
It
children,
is.
especially when they're building their
Makes sense
relationship
for
with
some
food.
adults, for sure.
Yes, totally. Yes. So it's slightly, I modify it for children a bit. But we did do about 4 weeks later, we did eliminate and just, really focus on no soy. I've been making his own mayonnaise. I've been making, we do all, it takes some time and effort and planning, but when we focus on that, he feels so much better. And he can tell, like, even as an 8-9-year-old boy now, he can feel like we just got back from vacation and we were a little loosey-goosey with it all because we went to Hawaii. There's a lot of soy, a lot of ginger. Like, we stayed away from ginger, but avoiding soy is really, really difficult in Hawaiian food.
Yes, it is.
But he was fine. His eczema is no worse. He didn't throw up. He had heartburn one night, but even I had heartburn because it was these teriyaki burgers.
Yeah,
So,
we're just not used to eating that way. We eat differently when we're on vacation. Sometimes things that we just wouldn't eat and amounts of food that we wouldn't eat either.
And just distraction and So had we gone on this vacation maybe a month after starting, I don't believe we would have been as successful. But I think now, his pooping he never really had a problem with pooping, but he'd go a couple days or it would be hard here and there, or like he'd have multiple stools a day in like maybe too runny or too soft. And now even now he poops 1 to 2 times a day. It's very comfortable. It's not like overly stinky. Sorry, TMI for some people. But, it's very
important. It makes a huge difference. Some people, this is really good for IBS, and this is what they're feeling all the time. It's great to be able to pull that away from them.
Yeah. And with regards to his relationship with food, I asked him if he wanted to join me today, and he's a little shy sometimes. So he's not here. But maybe one day we'll get him on.
Yeah.
But when we were talking one night in bed, God, he said it so beautifully. And again, he's like 9 years old. He talks about how before LEAP, he said that his tummy and his stomach, or his tummy and his brain, he's like, there's a wall between my tummy and my brain. And it gets really, really high. And I can't really tell when my tummy is full because my brain can't see over the wall. Wow. And with LEAP, he says, it's like the wall is so much smaller. And because I would, he's a big kid. He lives in a bigger body. We never talk. We don't have any judgment on that at all.
Healthy eating.
And so I've never talked about how much he eats other than you only get, if we have to share things. Like, we're a family of 5. You don't get all of that, But he said he's now with LEAP. He's like, the wall has shrunk. So now my brain can see over the wall to my stomach and can see that it's full. And I'm like, oh,
that's very sweet to me. You're like, are you really 9?
Wow, I've never thought of that at all. So there is definitely something to him being able to listen to his body better. People have asked me, has he lost weight? He's 9. I don't care if he's lost weight. I don't want him to lose weight. My husband is 6'7". He's going to be, he's 9.
No, your husband is how tall?
6'7".
Yeah.
So I'm 5'6", and my son is already up to here. So he's gonna be tall. He's but he feels good. He's strong. He swims 20 plus laps at the pool. He surfed. He run. He's so active and healthy and not complaining about his stomach all the time and not throwing up randomly.
That's a prize for him and a prize for the family because it's just that's amazing.
Yeah. I had seen the results with my clients. I had seen this happen. I was still shocked. I was still just shocked. Pardon me. I'm like, is this magic? And of course it's not the test that makes these things happen. It's what I say so often to people who are interested in working with myself or another CLT, I just want to test. The test isn't what makes you well. It's what you do with the information. Yes, it's how you approach it. It's the whole approach, and it takes time. And then there's, I think about my journey with my son. Had we just done it and like, if I didn't have kind of this insight on how moving forward and hitting roadblocks and going traveling, like all of that takes time and expertise to kind of go through and troubleshoot. And so for my son and for myself and my husband, like having the initial information is wonderful, but having the stamina to keep going and the troubleshooting is most important.
Yeah, and they're so fortunate that they actually live with a dietitian. So people who get this test, it's not the end all be all. Like you need somebody to support you, to give you recipe ideas, to work with you, how to add the foods in. It's a process. It's a process that's so worth it. I'm so glad that I did it, but it is a process.
Yeah, it is. You're exactly right. It's a process, and we all need different levels of support too. I feel like some people can be like, okay, I'm totally there and I'm ready and everything is going to be great, and it's great. And then I have other clients who are like, ooh, I'm like a little nervous. Like I was really ready at first and now I'm a little nervous. So it's just like a different approach. And what I love that this work does, like, yes, the MRT is a tool. It's a tool in our tool belt, but the way we use it is really important, and really giving them the light at the end of the tunnel, because so many of my clients, I'm sure that of people, like they feel like they've been crushed through by a train a dozen times, and like knowing that the light at the end of the tunnel is actually fresh air versus like another train is so important.
Absolutely. Well, it's been so nice talking to you. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed listening to your son's story, and actually with your story, we actually got the family side of how they're involved and how it's affected the whole family. And so it's just life-changing. It's life-changing for everybody. So I want to thank you for your time. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
No, I just, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for considering me, and good luck.
All right. Thanks so much. You have a great night.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.